right, do it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're perfect.
That's good stuff.
Okay, great. So we are calling a special meeting of the Board of Uplift Education, of the Board of Uplift Education. It is 8:39 on November 16th, 2018. We'll call the meeting to order. The agenda is we will get a report from Stacy Lawrence, and then there are a couple resolutions, one from Stacy and one from Alex Burke, and then we will be done. So with that, turn it over to you, Stacy.
All right, great. So you guys all got this update, just a few points to share. You got this in your pre-read, so hopefully you had a chance to flip through. I'll just a couple of words, and then I'll turn it over to John DeBro, our partner from Weaver, and then we can take any questions. But so this is Weaver's 4th year now as our auditors. The key thing, unmodified opinions on our financials and the federal programs. Unmodified is good. They have identified one finding that is classified as a significant deficiency, and I'll let John touch on that for us. And so that's the goal here, is to just walk through this, have the board approve the audit and issuance of the financials, and then we'll report everything to TEA and our bondholders, and FY18 will be a wrap. I've got some of the financial results here. I'm not going to drain this, but we can take questions if as needed. We had solid bond metrics as it relates to both days cash and then coverage as well. So with that, maybe I'll turn over to John.
Thanks, Stacy. Thanks everyone for allowing me to meet with you this morning. As you know, my name is John DeBro. I'm audit partner with Weaver, and this is my first year involved with the audit, and so I don't have anything to extract upon from the previous years, but from everything that I've heard on both sides and everything that I've seen this year, the audit was a very big success and a big improvement over previous years, and that's just a lot of credit goes to Stacy and Bessie and the rest of the finance staff. And as Stacy mentioned, we're going to be in a position later today to issue unmodified opinions on the school's financial statements for fiscal year 18. We also completed our single audit testing of the federal financial assistance programs, which was Title I Part A and the child nutrition cluster, and we're going to issue an unmodified opinion on the school's compliance with the compliance requirements for those major programs, and that there were no internal control deficiencies noted in controls over compliance as well. So it was a very successful audit. We obviously, by being here today before Thanksgiving, that tells a lot too, because we're going to be issuing our opinion today, which is going to allow the school to be able to file timely with TEA for the first time in the past few years as well. So that's definitely going to be a big plus. And just looking at things, the significant deficiency, there was only one condition that we felt was a significant deficiency this year, which was again a great improvement from previous years. The one deficiency that we went over with the audit committee in more detail was just dealing with reconciliations for the foundation state program revenue. Taking the next step to properly reconcile it to the TEA payment ledgers. They do have a reconciliation process in place for reconciling the revenue and the due-to-do froms, but there was some improvement needed in reconciling it to the actual payment ledger because of the settle-up process that TEA goes through each year that flows adjustments through there. And we only had one significant journal entry, and that was regarding that reconciliation to the payment ledger. But aside from that, again, everything was very clean and very timely, and everybody provided everything that we needed to in a very prompt manner. I like being the deliverer of good news.
That's a good thing. And I'll just sort of build on what John was saying too. The timing, TEA has a time requirement that you file your audit within 150 days of your fiscal year end. And it's November 27th is the due date for the audit. they give you sort of a grace period as it relates to financial accountability first rating. Although they do send us a letter every year noting, hey, you guys submitted you were late filing your audit. So it's nice that this year that we worked back into the spring to make sure we had the timing down, that our team was going to be ready to have the audit done before this deadline. So it's nice to get that, as John said, to hit the deadline and not need the grace period from the first rating perspective.
I have a question.
Yep.
that I direct to both sides. Given how well it went, are there things that you can now reflect on? It's a lot easier going through a fairly, easier process to now reflect on what things would you want to do differently, either from the audit timing of certain things or just how you prepare for the audit. They even could make it go quicker, or even more efficient.
Well, I think we always started with having the audit prep in mind the whole year, and that'll stay constant. And so not just looking forward to the end of the year, but getting those, quarterly closings in place, getting the monthly closings in place, and having the team to make that happen. We had a great add to the team that helped support and I guess give more guidance to our accountants. And we were really still somewhat short-staffed, but, having that strength there, made up for it. I think having the tools in place, I had referenced with Kerry earlier, the e-banks, the reconciliation was done in split seconds compared to the heavy, burdensome process as before. And so having the technology in place, having people in place is always key. And of course the support from Stacy, and there are still areas that we can all grow in. He really still managed the financial reporting piece that I definitely want to own one day, And of course Yasmin. So I have a great, upper management team, and you all were amazing too as far as giving support from the audit perspective and the audit committee. And then Weaver was amazing. I have Kathy started out, when I got here, I knew Kathy from a prior employer, but just having that constant team to see what we're doing and how we're improving give us a little encouragement too, to know that we're definitely on the right track. So yeah, just keeping to I still want to continue to improve the team, and their skill set, and just divvy up the work. I think I wanted to redistribute the work so that one or two people aren't holding key pieces, and if they if something happened, we're in a hole. And so just making sure we're distributing the work and cross-training is what we're going to be looking forward to this upcoming year.
And I agree with everything they said, and again, I don't have anything to compare it to from previous years, but pretty much everything was given to us timely. I think maybe on a couple of the bank recs, they weren't late, but I think she was worried about a couple of small reconciling items, so that it didn't hold us up at all. And we just kept in constant communication. I think there was good communication between the teams to keep everybody updated as to what was still open, what was needed to wrap things up, and things progressed really well.
I have a question. So from a technology standpoint, is there room for improvement given that Uplift is going to continue to scale up? Do you foresee you need to upgrade in technology at some point, or do the systems pretty much in place where you feel comfortable?
I don't know that, it's not as much as an upgrade as a review. Me and my leadership team have talked about over the course of, before the winter break and then in January, getting with our financial accounting software vendor, and just, it's been 4 or 5 years since we implemented the software that we have. I was here, but was in a different role and was kind of more narrowly focused on that implementation. And so we don't have any continuity to the folks who implemented broadly that system. And so we're going to relook at, we've done part of it actually in payroll on Bess's team. We had the vendor come back out and sort of dig into it and help us, fine tune some settings that's made payroll processes and reconciliation of the accounting for payroll go a lot better. And so other parts from procurement life cycle to journal entries to security settings and roles that are controlling internal controls for us in the system, like we'll just have them come back out and kick the tires and make sure that we're optimized I don't think we need a new system necessarily. The tools that we've got, Bessie mentioned for the bank reconciliation software can easily scale with us and has, as we've added a couple of accounts over last year. Not concerned about that tool. And then it's a matter of if there's something different or new that we want to add that we haven't identified anything yet. But the ones we have in place, I feel confident that are.
I think another way of asking the question is that the version that we currently have, has it been updated, and if it hasn't been updated, or how long is the vendor going to support that version?
They're constantly making updates to the software. They were acquired by a larger company that has a lot of school business software, none in financial accounting, or some school software, but we use another one of their products. It's a company called Frontline Education. We use their eSped, SPED software, and they have time tracking, and I don't even know, they've got products in a large percentage of districts across the country. This was their first financial accounting software, so we're excited to see where actually the integration of the products could go. And their support, they've already invested in boosting the support, the help desk at Prologic. We're getting timelier responses, and we're kind of waiting to see where and how if they modify their development cycle. We're continuing to see constant updates even before the acquisition.
So then one other follow-up question on that. I know that we talked about in our audit committee meetings that there's a transition to a new standard, and you don't need to answer this now, but I think that we ought to think about how do we inform the broader board of the new standards and what that might look like and what our transition plan is.
Other questions?
Is that something that Weaver will help with, or get?
Yeah, and we're in discussions right now, and waiting for some feedback back from TEA as to how they're approaching the new standard as well. So obviously the layout of the AFR submission is going to change next year with a statement of functional expenses of sorts. So I'm waiting to see what they've got on there for a template to help ensure compliance.
And will that be covered under the general audit, or is that a separate, is that like a,
Is what?
will that sort of, I guess, guidance be covered under the general audit, or is that something like a revenue recognition transition or something where you have to bring people?
Yeah, I mean, we're providing training, as part of our built-in. I mean, if it was something significant that required a whole new project, that would be something else. But as far as just getting them ready for the implementation of the standard.
Yeah, we'll be ready for it by the time the next audit gets going.
Most of it's going to be the schedule of functional expense and then some information on liquidity disclosures that will be required in footnotes to the financial statements. Those are going to be the biggest pieces.
Okay.
Terrific. Other questions? Thank you. Stacy, I guess we've got an action item. Do we have to?
Yes,
Approve them?
we take a vote.
We take a vote.
Consider and take action. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, I guess, do we have to accept the audit?
Yes, we would ask for a motion to approve the 17 and 18. audit.
Okay, so, I guess, can I get a motion to approve the 2017-2018 audit, consistent with what everybody?
A motion to approve.
Second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Stacy, do you want to walk us through the resolution to reimburse construction and project expenses?
You bet. So this is one that we come to the board with typically after every bond deal and before the next one. This resolution just allows us to as we are incurring project costs ahead of the bond financing, to reimburse ourselves once we do the financing. We just need this in place so that we can kind of pay ourselves back whenever we get the bond proceeds. So this is what happens typically with every, before every bond. We have brought one of these, and then once we close every bond, whatever amounts we've incurred, at closing, we wire the proceeds, part of the proceeds get wired back to Uplift to pay ourselves back. So that's what this technically allows us to do.
Questions? Okay, do we have a motion to approve the resolution to reimburse construction and project expenses?
So moved.
Great. Second?
Second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And then relocation of Uplift Ascend, Alex.
Yes, so I know we are all very excited. We're gonna have a new Uplift Ascend building opening up in January. If you recall, about a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, I brought a resolution to the board, 2 different resolutions to the board, relocating at the time, because we did not have our main site, Ascend Primary School to the temporary site on Lancaster Avenue, and then the secondary school, 6th grade, to Uplift Mighty. So it is time for us to relocate those 2 schools to the main site. In order to do so, I have to submit a non-expansion amendment to the TEA, and to do that, I need a resolution from the board for approval.
Okay, great.
So if we could get a motion to
Would you
approve.
allow us to move out of a really yucky site into a brand new building that we've all invested bond dollars in? This is a really about as simple as a vote and non-controversial as we can give you.
Okay, so do we have a motion to relocate Uplift Ascend?
Motion.
Great, second.
Second.
Awesome, all in favor?
Aye.
Otherwise it would be super awkward.
That's right.
You would have to tell us what school you would like to go there.
Yeah, you're gonna go tell a bunch of kids. That's what we just said. Okay, so unless anybody else is signing up?
Yeah, so I'm going to pass around the
Yes, we do
resolution
need
for
some.
everybody
Okay.
present, if they will sign it, please.
While we're doing that, does anybody have anything else?
Need a pen?
It's all me said that.
Yeah, right, well, yeah. We're good? Okay.
After
We're
people sign, but
adjourned.
you have to sign. But you
Yeah.
have to
Sign
sign.
during the meeting?
You have to
Is that
sign.
true?
No, not during the meeting, we're saying
Okay.
don't get up and leave
Okay, got it,
until you
got it.
sign.
Okay,
So,
we're adjourned.
thank you so
Thanks,
much, I
guys.
hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving again. Thank you to the Weaver team, to Bessie for her leadership,
Thank you all.
and to Stacy as well, so, very, very good
Yeah.
job.
Awesome.